Atin,
Yes, ma'am.
are you ready, Atin?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Can I start, ma'am?
Yes, 1 second. Gunashekharan, sir.
Yes, madam. I'm ready, madam.
Yes, sir. Shall we start, sir?
Okay, madam. You start.
Yes, Atin, you can start.
Okay, ma'am. A warm good evening to 100 present here. It gives me an immense pleasure to extend you a hearty welcome to this wonderful program. We are proud and privileged to accord education for 6 decades. We have institutions both in Tamil Nadu and Kerala. We also provide scholarship schemes like Nehru Vigyan Scholarship Exam, MHRD Scholarship for Girls, Sibling Scholarships, Single Parent Scholarship, Ex-Serviceman Scholarship, Teacher Referral Schemes, and many more for our deserving students. Nehru Group educate from kindergarten to medical and got multitude of courses. At this point, we, the Department of Science and Humanities, NIET, proudly present a national level webinar on appreciation of nanomaterial for photocatalytic applications. Photocatalytics enables the direct conversion of solar energy into chemical energy. As such, it has been recognized as an effective tool for many sustainability reactions, can help remove organic and inorganic pollutants from water and air. I once again welcome all of you to this wonderful program. With these words, now I'm delighted to invite Dr. Gunashekaran Sir, Associate Professor, Department of Science and Humanities, NIET, to present the welcome address. Sir, please.
Good evening, one and all. I am Dr. Gunasekharan, Associate Professor in the Department of Science and Humanities. First, I welcome. First, I am very great pleasure to welcome you all for all this. First, I welcome you all for this wonderful webinar organized by Janisha Madam, and also in this webinar, Mr. Dr. A. Ganesh Raja will give an presentation on appreciation of nanomaterials for photocatalyst application. So in this webinar, first I welcome our Dr. P. Krishna Kumar sir, CEO and Secretary, Nehru Group of Institutions, Coimbatore, on his open. Welcome you, sir. Next, I welcome our respected principal, sir, Dr. P. Manivarasan sir, of his Appensia. I welcome you, sir. Next, I welcome our respected HOD Madam, Dr. Shalini Bhakya Kamalan, of his Appensia. I welcome you, Madam. Next, I welcome my beloved faculty members of SNH and the students for this wonderful webinar. I welcome you all the students. And also finally, I thank to our management and the higher authorities to give me this opportunity of the welcome address of all of you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for a glorious welcome address. Now, I'm delighted to humbly request Ms. Purnisha from first year Aeronautical Engineering to honor our resource person and his record. Ms. Purnisha, please.
Yes, Sachin, thank you. Let me take this good time to honor our resource person, an excellent professor with ample amount of experience in teaching and research, a great intellectual personality who has made enormous amount of contribution to students' community. His work has been published in numerous national and international journals. Also, he has presented his research papers in many international and national conferences. He worked as project investigator for National Natural Science Foundation of China, abbreviated as NSFC, under the project entitled as Simple Hydrothermal and Photochemical Synthesis, Spectral Developments and the Photocatalytic Performance of Room Temperature Ferromagnetic Single Site MOX Titanium Oxide Nanocrystals. He was awarded a lot many awards for his experience in research. Some of them are National Natural Science Foundation of China Research Fund for International Young Scientists in year 2016, Outstanding Contribution in Reviewing Award in 2017 for the journal named as Journal of Allies and Compounds. Best Oral Presentation Award, first prize in year 2011, presented in National Conference on the role of chemists in advanced chemistry, ANJAC, Sivakasi, Tamil Nadu. He have undergone many research. Some of them are investigation of ferromagnetism in nano titanium oxide containing transition metal ion impurity produced by photoreduction process, Moss-Bayer spectroscopic uh, magnetic and photocatalytic investigation of tin or iron-dropped titanium nanocomposite produced by simple hydrothermal and photochemical methods, simple hydrothermal and photochemical synthesis, spectral development and photocatalytic performance of room temperature ferromagnetic single site MOX titanium oxide nanocrystal. He has also attended many international conferences as a speaker. Some of them are 6th International Symposium on Macro and Supramolecular Architecture and Materials held at Lee Meridian, Coimbatore, organized by K.S. Rangasamy College of Technology, Tiruchendur. National Conference on Advanced Material and Application organized by Department of Physics, National Institute of Technology, Tiruchirappalli. 16th
Okay, sir.
International Congress on Catalyst in Beijing. Yes, sir. Beijing, China, organized by Dalian Institute of Chemical Physics, CSA, China, and many more such achievements. I would like to invite Dr. A.S. Ganesh Raja, working as an assistant professor, Department of Chemistry, National College, Tiruchirappalli, Tamil Nadu. With your permission, sir, I would like to hand over the virtual dais to you, sir. Sir, please.
Uh, Thank you very much for your kind introduction about me. First, I like to thanks our organizer of this webinar. Uh, I particularly thanks to Dr. Salini Bakim Kamala, Professor and Head, Department of Science and Humanities, such a convener, and co-convener like Dr. Gunasegaran, Associate Professor, Department of Science and Humanities, and coordinator, yes, Janisa, Assistant Professor, Nehru Institute of Engineering and Science and Technology, Coimbatore. I really happy to attend this webinar and give lecture to all of you because this is one of the very important topic current research because you already know something about photocatalysis and nanomaterial photocatalysis like that, but first you need to understand full things. What is photocatalyst, what is need in these current situations in the different applications like environmental applications and energy applications. Because why I mentioned only environment and energy means its environment is very important in this stage. Now we are in pandemic period because uh, mostly we spoiled our environment. Therefore, we got new viruses and affect us. So, environmental cleaning is very important nowadays. So, we need to make something about nature. So, we need to clean our environment and we need to make very good environment to future generation because this is not for us. This world is not only for human being. It's this world is all of animals, trees, and many more things. So we need to protect and give good environment to everyone, not only human being. We need to give good environment to animals, trees, and so on. Okay. So today I'm going to talk about photocatalysis and mainly talking about this photocatalysis, how to use in energy and environmental applications. Okay, so I go to my slide. Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
it is visible.
Okay. So this is my topic about appreciations of nanomaterials for photocatalytic applications. I already mentioned that these nanomaterials and photocatalysts are different fields, but when these nanomaterials used as a photocatalysis, that is very good effect in environment and energy field. Therefore, I am taking this is a topic to deliver this lecture. Okay, this is appreciation of nanomaterials for photocatalytic applications. Okay, what I am going to talking about this lecture. You see, different topics. First we need to understand what is means nanomaterials and photocatalysis. And I like to introduce some of the photocatalysis like semiconductor photocatalysis, nanomaterial, nano titanium dioxide photocatalysis and its applications. And I like to show some of my research work on photocatalysis. Okay, and then I like to give some ideas about what are the careers opportunities in the chemical sciences. Okay. So first I move to nanomaterials photocatalysis. I covered this lecturer from students to research scholar and scientist. So I like to give some introduction about nanomaterials and photocatalysis, semiconductors like that. So first I move to nanomaterials. What are the nanomaterials? Nanomaterials are commonly defined as materials with an average grain size less than 100 nanometers. This is size defined matter because which materials having less than 100 nanometer or 100 nanometer, those materials we are called nanomaterials. So, in these nanomaterials, particularly this having a main behavior like nanomaterials may depends upon surface area. This surface area is very important property or behavior in this nanomaterials because this surface when it's having relative surface is one of the principal factors that enhance the reactivity. So when it's get a good surface area or larger surface area, we can get good reactivity materials and strength and electrical properties. Not only electrical properties, it can change magnetic properties, electronic properties, and electrical properties. So you see, this is the large spherical particles do not cover much area, surface area. This is one of the large spherical particles. This is about 10 micrometer. This is not nanometer. So it's this mass. It's only one particle covered in this surface. This is one thin film, maybe in surface on one particle. The same mass it reduces to 25 nanometer particles. So these all particles having individual surface area. So this cover this full film of this surface. So this full film of this surface, maybe it can get more very good or effective photocatalytic activity materials or some other catalytic activity materials. So this is the very important. You see, this is nanoparticles equal mass of small plated particles provide thorough coverage. Thorough coverage nearly 1 million times more. So 1 million times more of particles as well as 1 million more of surface energy level, surface area like that. So in nanomaterials is very important in the catalytic applications. So why you see this is a pattern matter on the nanoscale? It is possible to vary functional properties. So when we converted this microparticle to nanoparticle, it can change different properties like mechanical properties, electrical properties, optical properties, and magnetic properties. So this chemical composition is not changes, but it changes only sizes. But the size can changes different chemical and physical properties. So here I source some of the nanoscale materials from 1 nanometer to this is 100 nanometer. You see, this is carbon nanotubes. This is quantum dots. What it means quantum dots? Nowadays, many researchers are doing on quantum dot materials, because in these materials having size 10 less than 10 nanometer. So that diameter, the particle diameter size is less than 10 nanometer. So less than 10 nanometer, it is having a good surface area, that is larger surface area, and having a effective catalytic activity. Therefore, these materials, near 1 nanometer to 10 nanometer, we can get good efficient catalytic materials. As well as these materials also having a some kind of efficiency. Okay, this is a, you see, this is 0.1 nanometer, this is one atom. An atom is nearly 0.1 nanometer, and then one unit cell having less than 1 nanometer. So this nanometer means it's very smallest particles. You see, this is more than 1 micrometer. We can see this bacteria, red blood cells through microscope. So because this is 1 micrometer, so in micrometer we can see these particles through microscope. So in these particles we cannot see in the microscope, because this is less than 1 micrometer. So this can predicted from scanning electron microscopy, transition electron microscopy, some imaging analysis. Okay, so these are the some of the nanoscale materials. Okay. You see, this is one spherical particle. This is nearly 10 centimeter. The particle size is 10 centimeter. It can reduce to 1 millimeter, and then 11 micrometer, and then 1 nanometer. So this same mass is converted to so many smallest particles. So this one particle having a individual surface area. You see, this every particle is having an individual surface area. So this individual surface area is get, that is average surface area. So average surface area is it's get very larger amount, because you see, here I mentioned some of the sized materials from 0.77 centimeter to 10 to the power minus 7 centimeter. That means 1 nanometer. So this 1 nanometer having a total surface area is very larger than that of this centimeter particles. You see, this surface area also is very larger surface area. This surface area is a very larger surface area, as well as surface energy. Surface energy is very important for the catalytic application. So when we need to use the catalyst, that catalyst having a good surface area, that means larger surface area and very good surface energy. So this 1 nanometer particles having a very larger surface area as well as high surface energy. So these particles having a good for catalysis, particularly in photocatalytic field. This catalysis used as a very good, that means efficient photocatalyst. Okay. Here I show some types of nanostructures from clusters, nanotubes, fibers and rods, films and coats, polycrystal. Here I mentioned zero dimensional, one dimensional, two dimensional, and three dimensional. What means zero dimensional to three dimensional? This zero dimensional, we cannot get any axis, particular edge, x-axis edge, y-axis edge, and z-axis edge. But in one dimensional, we can say this is one direction, like x direction or direction, like that. This is you see these films having a two-dimensional material. Why we called two-dimensional, because here this is x-axis, this is y-axis. So these materials is so it's contained in x-axis direction as well as y-axis direction, but not in z-axis direction. But in three-dimensional materials, it shows x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis. This is z-axis. So these are the materials divided into nanostructural types. Okay. So these nano structural materials can absorb in spherical particle, tubular particle, irregular shapes. It's not regular shapes, maybe some irregular shapes like clusters. So you see here I shows only one example. It's in single nanotube. This is a single nanotube. This is a multi-wall nanotube. Okay. So just I like to show some types of nanoparticles. Nanoparticles is divided in four main types. One is carbon-based materials. These are carbon-based material. Carbon-based material means these materials made up of only carbon. You see diamond, fluorine, carbon nanotubes, graphite. Graphites so don't have any double bonds. That means graphite. Here, graphene. Graphene is having a double bond. So this is a graphene and graphene oxide. Graphene oxide means some of the alcohol group, acid group, or ketone groups are present on the graphene surfaces. So we are called that materials we are called as graphene oxide. And carbon dots. What it means carbon dots? This is carbon graphene oxide materials. On graphene oxide materials, some of the organic molecules deposited on the graphene oxide materials we are called carbon dots. This is some of the carbon material, that is organic materials. So organic materials is doped or deposited on the surface. So these molecules is size should be less than 10 nanometer. So those materials we are called carbon dots. Okay. So that carbon dots is used in the different applications. So next one is metal based nanocrystals. Metal based means some of the metals used as nanoparticles like aluminum, gold, copper, platinum. Those materials, those metals are used as those metals formed nanocrystals. So that nanocrystals are used as some catalyst, like photocatalysis. Some of the some recent researchers are find single atom photocatalysis. Single atom means here they mentioned that noble metals like gold, platinum. So these metals are deposited on the some metal oxides like that. So those materials we are called single atom photocatalysis like that. Okay. This is one of the nanomaterials. Tentrimer. Tentrimer is a organic tentrimer. It's some inorganic materials is doped on the tentrimer to get organic inorganic hybrid tentrimer like that. Okay. Then this is the composite. Composite is very important in this photocatalysis field, because these nano powders, nano composites are very good photocatalysis compared to other carbon based, metal based nanocrystals. Because here you see this what it means composite. First we should know what it means composite. This is the nano powders like copper oxide. This is one of the aluminum metal. So when we mixed these two metal to get one new materials, that materials is that grain size could be less than 100 nanometer. Those materials we are called nano composites. Here aluminum deposited copper oxide, this is one of the nano composites. This composites used as a very good visible light absorbed photocatalyst. Okay. Why nanomaterials are act as photocatalysts? Why? Because most of the researchers used nanomaterials nanomaterials only used as a photocatalysis. Some materials is not used in commercial applications because nanomaterials having a very good surface area, that is larger surface area. That larger surface area can enhance the photocatalytic applications. You see, nanomaterials are important in photocatalysis research due to the ability to fine tune their properties, allowing for highly specialized photocatalysis. So, for application utilizing visible light, particularly this nanomaterial photocatalyst is absorbed visible light. So it means it can change electronic properties. So to change electronic properties means in composites more than 100 nanometer sized particles is only visible absorbed UV light. We can reduce this size. That particles, this nanoparticles can absorb visible light. So this is the reason we can use these nanomaterials as a photocatalytic materials. Okay. So next I move to what it means photocatalyst, because first we need to understand fundamentals of photocatalysis, then only we can understand the applications of photocatalysis. So what it means photocatalysis? Photocatalysis is one of the you see, this is photocatalysis is a substance that uses light energy to facilitate chemical reactions. That means a photocatalysis is a material which absorb light. It can absorb light to bring it to higher energy level and provides such energy to reacting substance to make a chemical reactions. You see, you can assume this is one of the nanoparticle. So this nanoparticle, like this is one of the semiconductor nanoparticles. Semiconductors having a valence bond, conduction bond, and band gap energy. So when this nanoparticles absorbed UV or visible light, this valence bond electron is excited to conductant bonds. We should know what is mean valence bond. This is fulfilled orbitals. This is empty orbitals. Conducted bonds means empty orbitals. This is valence band means fulfilled orbital. So when we radiated with the UV light or visible light, this valence bond electron is excited to conductant bonds. This conductant bonds is higher energy levels, therefore this is not stable energy. So it should be come to ground state, that is recombination step. When this electron is comes to ground state, that is recombination step. So some of the nanomaterials is not used as a photocatalysis because this recombination rate is very fast. So when it's go excitation, it's immediately come to ground state. That time those materials we cannot use as a photocatalyst. So this energy level some more stable compared to another energy, other materials, because in photocatalysis this conduction bond energy, this electrons is goes to some other substances. These substances can reduce because this is the positive, more negative potential, this is more positive potential. So reducing so this oxidizing agent having a more positive potential, this reducing agent is having a more negative potential. So this part conductant band is act as a reducing agent. So this electron is goes to some substances to get reduction, so this is the oxidizing agent. This valence band acts as an oxidizing agent because in this positive, more it's having a more positive potential. So this positive potential is act as a reducing agent to oxidizing agent to oxidize some of the compounds. So here you used some organic pollutants or inorganic pollutants which can reduce some other materials. So we are called that is organic pollutant degradation or inorganic pollutant degradation, like that. So is commonly this photocatalysis absorbed UV or visible light to assist reaction to get some chemical compound. particularly this photocatalysis having a two reactions. One is reduction reaction, another one is oxidation reaction. Therefore, we are called as this is a conventional redox reaction because reduction and oxidation takes place simultaneously. Okay, then oxidizing agent. You see, I already mentioned that this is a very good oxidizing agent because it should having a more positive potential. Okay, then photocatalysis, simultaneous oxidation and reduction reactions as well as. So this is these materials we are called photocatalyst materials, and these process we are called photocatalysis. Okay, why we need to use photocatalyst? Why we need this photocatalyst? Because photocatalysis is energy saving. Why this is energy saving? Because this photocatalyst can be initiated by UV lamp and visible lamp. Because in catalyst, we already know about what it means. Catalysis. Catalysis only induce the rate of the reaction. It will not affect and it will not converted into some other product. It's only increase the rate of the reaction. So here this photocatalysis need to induced by some other things. Here photocatalysis induced by UV lamp and visible lamp. In this UV and visible lamp is very cheapest, and then we used in any laboratory without any irritations like that. So this is one of the energy saving materials, and then we can use sunlight also as a initiating light to induce the photocatalytic reactions. So therefore this is one of the energy saving materials, and then this is relatively cheap. Why we called this is cheapest material? Because this photocatalyst raw material is relatively cheap. Cost wise, these materials are very cheap compared to other chemical materials. So next one is photocatalyst is sustainable. What it means sustainable? Sustainable means once we used this photocatalysis, it can we can reuse these materials because only need one time doping and never run out. We no need to clean first photocatalysis, then we need to quote second potable. Not like that. This is renewable energy because it's this is automatically themselves renew and then give next reaction. Therefore, this is sustainable photocatalysis particles. And then photocatalysis is environmental friendly materials. Why we called this is environmental friendly materials? Because this photocatalyst convert hazardous organic compounds and bacteria into harmless substances. What is the harmless substances? So organic compounds is converted into carbon dioxide and water. So carbon dioxide and water is not toxic compared to some toxic organic compound. So this toxic organic compound is converted into carbon dioxide and water. Therefore, we should need photocatalysis in environmental applications. Okay. So what are the factors affecting the photocatalytic activity? First one, absorption of electromagnetic radiation and band gap of semiconductor. So I already mentioned about band gap energy. Band gap energy means the distance between valence band and conductance band. Energy difference between valence band and conductance bands. So this band gap energy is very important to select the photocatalytic activity. So next one, rate of recombination of excited electron and holes. I already mentioned that what it means recombination step. Recombination means observed UV or visible light in valence bond. It's excited that valence bond electron is goes to conductant bonds. Then this conducted bond electron is comes to valence bond. That steps we are called recombination step. So that rate of the recombination step is should be slow. Then only those materials is very good photocatalytic activity. Then surface properties of semiconductor film. Surface properties I already mentioned that it should having a large surface area and grain size, fluid thickness like that. Okay, and the absorption of reactants through the film. The absorption of reactant means when we need to decompose some compounds, that compound should be absorbed on the photocatalytic surface. Then hydrophilicity of the surface of film. Hydrophilicity means it absorbs some water molecules. It water molecule because water splitting also takes place in the photocatalytic applications. So so those photocatalytic materials should having a hydrophilicity surface. Okay, then intensity of incident electromagnetic radiation. Electromagnetic radiation means we know radio waves to gamma rays in between UV visible rays. So those waves we are called electromagnetic radiation. So that UV rays and visible rays having a different energy levels and different wavelengths. So that different wavelengths having a different intensity. So we need to select the intensity of incident electromagnetic radiation. Okay, then temperature of the pollutants. Temperature is one of the important factor in the photocatalytic reactions, and the pre-adsorption of oxygen. Oxygen need to adsorb on surface, that those oxygen can those oxygen is converted into some free radicals, so that the free radical intermediates is react with some organic or inorganic pollutants to degrade. Okay, so pre-adsorption of oxygen also important factors to influence the photocatalytic activity. Okay, what are the futures of good photocatalysis? It should be inert in nature. It not affect the nature. It should be non-toxic and it should not liberate toxic products in environment. It themselves react with some other chemicals to convert it into some toxic materials. So here is this photocatalyst is not react with some other materials to convert it to toxic materials. So therefore we are called this is non-toxic material. So this material should be non-toxic, and then it should be activated by the applications of light. When we need to initiate reaction, that time we irradiate some light to induce the chemical reaction. Other times it's not reacted anymore. So it should be cost effective. Cost effective means it's cheapest one. It should be user friendly synthesis and fabricate. Because user friendly means we need to synthesis economically, need to synthesis and fabricate. We need to fabricate. Fabricate means first we need to synthesize that compound, and then we need to converted into very good photocatalysis by the fabricated materials. Okay, so next I move to some photocatalysis like semiconductor photocatalysis. Here, because in semiconductor photocatalysis is very effective photocatalysis than the top other photocatalysis. Therefore, I take here semiconductor photocatalysis. Why data? This is metal. So this is insulator. Insulators. Okay, this is metal. This is insulator. This is semiconductor. Okay. We already know about metals. Metals having a valence bond and conduction bond. This valence bond and conduction bond coupled together. So don't in this
Sir,
So you are not audible, sir.
sir, voice is not audible, sir. Ganesh, sir. Sir, can you hear me, sir? Ganesh, sir?
I think he having some network problem. ஏதோ network problem வந்திருக்கும்னு நினைக்கிறேன்.
Yes. Yes. Participants, kindly wait. Sir has joined with us now.
Join.
Sir,
join
am I?
பண்ணிட்டு பாருங்க.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Some internet problem.
Yes, sir.
Oh, sorry for it. Now only I left, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, Professor, you continue. Professor.
Yeah, I can. Okay. Is it visible?
Yes, sir. It's visible.
No. 1 second. So, why we need to use semiconductor as a photocatalyst material? Yeah, these metals having a valence bond and conductance bonds, this band coupled to each other. So, no, here we cannot observe any band gap energy. So, in insulators, this band gap energy is very large. So, in large band gap energy, need higher energy required to excite this electron to this valence band electrons to conductor band electrons. So these two materials we cannot use as a photocatalytic materials. But in semiconductor materials, it's having a wide band gap energy. This wide band gap energy is act as a photocatalyst because it absorbed UV or visible light. So this UV and visible light to excite this electron valence band electron to conductor bands electrons. So now some of the recent researchers used some metal doped or metal deposited semiconductor materials, that is new materials, because this is the metals, these metals don't have any individual band gap energy. So these materials can doped into semiconductor to get new photocatalytic materials to reduce this band gap energy. When its band gap energy reduced, it can absorb visible light. We already know about energy, wavelength, and frequency. Energy and wavelength are indirectly proportional to, and frequency and energy is directly proportional to. So when it goes to longer wavelength, its energy level is reduced. So when it's reduced energy level, it can absorb visible light region. So when we need to convert this UV light absorbed photocatalysis to visible light absorbed photocatalysis, we need to consider this band gap energy. We need to reduce this band gap energy to get visible light photocatalysis. So here I show some of the semiconductor materials with individual band gap energy. You see, this is titanium dioxide materials having a 3.2 electron volt. This is band gap energy. And then zinc oxide is also having a 3.2 electron volt. And cadmium sulfate is 2.5. Zinc sulfide 3.6, and so on. This is iron sulfide, like that, iron oxide, like that. You see here, when we need to take some reactions, here we need to reduce this H plus proton hydrogen, that is water splitting reaction. So this water splitting reaction is only suitable we compare to all these among these materials. Cadmium sulfide is a very appropriate choice for hydrogen production, because this band gap energy, you see, this is 2.5 electron volt. This is in between this energy level, this potential, hydrogen oxygen generation potential as well as hydrogen generation potential. Therefore, we need to select this cadmium sulfide is used for the water splitting reactions. So this band gap energy and position is very important to select the reactions. Which reactions we need to proceed? So we need to select the photocatalytic substances. Okay. Here I also mentioned some of the semiconductor photocatalysis, semiconductor materials with the band gap energy, different band gap energy, and different reactions. You see, this is water splitting reactions. This is two water splitting reaction. This is cerium reduction and oxidation redox reaction. This is iron 2 plus 3 plus redox reactions. So when we need to reduce the iron 2 plus or 3 plus, so we need to choose some of the photocatalysis. You see here cadmium and these materials used for the iron redox reaction. But you see this is hydrogen splitting, water splitting reaction. Water splitting reaction, these materials is not used for the water splitting reaction. The tin oxide is also not used for the water splitting reaction because this potential is not suitable in this not suitable in this stage because that band gap energy is different compared to that hydrogen and oxygen reduction and oxidation potential. Okay, so that selectivity is very important for different reactions. Okay, so semiconductor photocatalysis can used in some other applications like water splitting reactions. This is photoelectrical cells for electricity production, semiconductor particles for the treatment of water, the nanocrystallines, so electrochemical photoelectrochemical cells. So semiconductors photocatalysis are used in different applications. Okay. So we need to. I move to next topic is titanium dioxide photocatalysis because this is also one of the semiconductor photocatalysis. But this titanium dioxide is one of very good commercial photocatalysis than that of other photocatalysis because this is first photocatalysis discovered by Fukushima, Tokyo University of Technology, Japan. So, what is why this titanium dioxide is ideal photocatalysis? Because this is cheap and can be reused. We can reuse these materials and high photochemical corrosive resistance and strong oxidizing power. Photocatalysis takes place at ambient temperature. Atmospheric oxygen is used for the reaction. So, therefore, this is one of the ideal photocatalysis. And so these materials having a different physical and chemical properties like high surface area, small crystalline size. This is different polymorphs. Polymorphs, this titanium dioxide having a different polymorphs like rutile, anatase, brookite like that. So this anatase forms is very good photocatalysis compared to rutile and brookite form. Therefore, I mentioned here anatase form. Okay, and then high crystallinity porous structure. Porous structure means in surface having some holes. That holes can induce the photochemical reactions. That is porous structure and activations of light source. So and then what so this having some disadvantages because pure titanium dioxide is absorbed only visible UV light. It's not absorbed visible light because its band gap energy 3.2 electron volt. This 3.2 electron volt band gap energy it can only absorb UV light. It's not absorbed visible light. So when we need to make a good titanium dioxide as a visible light photocatalysis, so we need to dope some other materials, some impurity materials like some metals, some non-metals like that. So when when we doped some metal or non-metal materials to produce visible light absorbed for the titanium dioxide catalysis. Therefore, I mentioned that an appropriate synthetic procedure can provide the titanium dioxide with promising efficiency. Okay. why I already mentioned that why we need to take titanium dioxide, and then this is the good optoelectronic properties, commercially available materials. This is one of the proven nano materials. Therefore, we are using titanium dioxide as a photocatalysis. And what are the features of titanium dioxide semiconductor? I already mentioned that this is having a wide band gap energy like 3.2 electron volt and activated in UV range of spectrum, and its anodized form of crystal is most favorable for photocatalysis. I mentioned all those things. So I move to next one. So this is the photocatalytic activity of titanium dioxide nanoparticle. So titanium dioxide nanoparticles having a valence bond and conductance bonds. You see this is a valence bond and this is a conductance bonds. When we radiated with UV light, this electron goes to conductor bonds. So this conductor bond electrons is absorbed some oxygen, atmospheric oxygen. It's converted to superoxide radicals. So these superoxide radicals are very active radical. So this active radical can react with some other inorganic or organic materials to converted into it's converted into carbon dioxide and water. It decomposed into carbon dioxide and water. So here it's take oxidation reaction. In this part, take oxidation reaction. In this part, take reduction reaction. So some volatile organic compounds can decompose in this process. Okay. Here I mentioned that different photocatalytic reactions using titanium dioxide for photocatalysis. I already mentioned that this titanium dioxide absorbed UV light to convert it to electron hole pair. This is charge pair, electron hole pair. So this electron having a positive potential. Sorry, this hole having a positive potential and the electron having a negative potential. So these positive potentials can induce oxidation reactions, and negative potential can induce reduction reaction and makes different intermediate species. These intermediate species like superoxide radical, hydroxide radicals, um, so superoxide anion radicals, these all superoxide anion radical, hydroxide radicals, these all radicals are very active species to react some organic or inorganic molecules to decompose, or it can convert it into one chemical stage to another chemical. So this is the these are the intermediate species. Okay. So here I mentioned stepwise reaction mechanisms. So electron hole pair. These water molecules can get this hole to get hydroxyl radical, and this is superoxide anion radical. So these are the very active species. So these active species can react with the pollutants to convert it into carbon dioxide and water molecules like that. Okay. Here I show you some of the photocatalytic reactions, same like natural chlorophyll photocatalytic reaction. In chlorophyll, some of the we already know about what is natural photocatalysis. In natural photocatalysis, this is trees having leaf, this leaf having chlorophyll. This chlorophyll absorbed light, UV light. This UV light, so it's same like photocatalysis process take place to convert carbon dioxide into some glucose molecule, hydrocarbon molecules, and it's liberate oxygen in the photocatalysis process. It's same like here, it's absorbed UV light, it's converted into electron hole pair, and this electron can react with organic some oxygen or water molecules to get some radicals. So these radicals react with organic or pollutants to get carbon dioxide and water molecules. So this is same like reactions. So I already mentioned that Fukushima is father of photocatalysis. He first predict titanium dioxide as a used as a photocatalysis for the water splitting process. Okay. So, what are the very important applications in the photocatalysis? First, you see, this is the solar water disinfectants. Because disinfectants, we can coat some of the photocatalysis in this tube, and then we pass contaminated water into these tubes, and then this visible light active photocatalysis. So this visible light active photocatalysis can absorb visible light to excited electron hole pair, and then electron and hole can react with contaminated some pollutant particles, organics or inorganic pollutant particles is converted into carbon dioxide and water. So this pure water is it's circulated into we can collect pure water. This is the solar water disinfection. So this is the reaction for pollutant degradation. I already explained how to degrade pollutants like that. So next process, this is step-wise process. The process of photocatalysis action. I already mentioned we radiated UV on titanium dioxide surface. So this is then we can get some strong oxidizing agents, that is free radicals or some intermediates, active intermediates. So these active intermediates can affect the germ cells. So these germ cells disintegrated harmful substances and allergies, then this disinfected germ cells to converted into water and carbon dioxide. This is the whole process of photocatalytic action. Okay. Then next application, conversions of carbon dioxide into gaseous hydrocarbons. This is very important applications because nowadays carbon dioxide is one of the green polluted gas in the environment. So we need to convert this carbon dioxide into one useful chemicals, that is great challenges, great use for the environment, because in carbon dioxide we can convert it into hydrocarbons by using photocatalysis. So how to convert it in this carbon dioxide? You see, this is the reaction mechanisms for carbon dioxide conversions. This carbon dioxide, this is one of the photocatalytic electrode cells. This is photocatalytic electrode cells. So electrode, I already know it's having an anode and cathode. When we irradiate it with visible light, in this catalyst can initiated by the reactions. So this water molecules is oxidized to H plus ions. So this H plus ions is goes to this carbon dioxide. This side having a electron, this side having a H plus. So this carbon dioxide is it's converted into carbonate ions. This carbonate ions is absorbed H plus ions. So this two reactant molecules react to convert methanol, acetic acid, methane like that. So this carbon dioxide is reduced to get some useful fuels like methanol and methanol and formic acid and methane like that. So this is the one of the very important environmental application as well as energy application, because this is one of the fuels, right? Methanol and formic acids are act as a fuel, so we can use as these are the fuels. So that is energy application. And this carbon dioxide in environment having a more carbon dioxide, those carbon dioxide affect environment. There's green so this carbon dioxide is converted into useful chemicals. Okay. Then sterilization. Sterilization means some of the bacteria or germs can degraded by using photocatalysis materials. Particularly, this sterilization used in the surgical instrumentations and removal of unwanted fingerprint from sensitive electrical and optical components. So these components having some germs or bacteria. So we spray some photocatalytic substances to these instruments and irradiated with UV or visible light. So these germs are converted in is degraded to clean these instruments. That is, we are called sterilization. So next application, crude oil decomposition. Crude oil decomposition because in oil refinery we can get some crude oil. This crude oil is cannot used many applications, so we need to it can affect the environment. So therefore we need to decompose this crude oil using some photocatalytic materials to convert it into carbon dioxide and water molecules. Okay. This is a photocatalytic water splitting. I already mentioned that water splitting is one of the very effective applications using photocatalyst. This is the mechanism of water splitting reactions. So you see here the water. This is the electron hole pair. This electron hole, this hole having a more positive potential. So this positive potential can oxidize this water to O2 and this H plus and the O2 plus H plus ion. This H plus ions can reduce due to hydrogen. So this is the hydrogen production from water. So this is one of the renewable energy. Why we are called renewable energy? Because this is water and solar light is where renewable renewable things. So therefore, we are called this is renewable um, renewable energy. So here we only used water and sunlight. Water, sunlight, as well as some minimum amount of photocatalysis. Catalysis means we used only small amount. So here we used some small amount of photocatalysis. So this is the stepwise reaction mechanism of water splitting. So this whole can oxidize to 2H plus and oxygen molecule. This 2H plus and this electron excited state electron absorbed this H plus protons to get hydrogen. So this is one of the very good energy applications, but still now we are not used in the commercial applications because up to today research we only get 10% efficiency of this water splitting photocatalysis. So we need to improve efficiency of this water splitting photocatalysis. Then only we can use this as a commercial usage of photocatalysis. We can convert it into water to hydrogen. Then that hydrogen can use as a fuels. And another one disadvantages in this hydrogen we cannot store and we cannot transfer easily. So we need to take some research to storage of hydrogen and transfer of hydrogen. So we need to solve this all problem. First, we need to solve efficiency of water splitting photocatalysis, and we need to solve storage of hydrogen, and we need to solve transfer of hydrogen from one place to another place. That is a very important research ongoing in worldwide. Okay, this is self-cleaning classes. Self-cleaning nowadays, most of the buildings having a self-cleaning systems. Uh, because some of the photocatalysts we can spray on the window, glass window. That window absorbed you some solar light. That solar light can induce that photocatalytic activity, and then some pollutants like some air pollutants or water pollutants absorbed on the glasses. It can degrade to get clean surfaces. This is the whole process. You see, this is the air pollutions, degradations of some air pollutions. We need to coat some of the catalyst on the wall of the buildings. In this case, in atmosphere also having oxygen and water molecules. So this oxygen and water molecules are absorbed on photocatalysis surface, and then this atmosphere having organic pollutants as well as inorganic pollutants. So this solar light can induce this photocatalysis to get some radicals, superoxide radical or hydroxide radical. So those hydroxide or super radicals is it's form nitrate, carbonate, and sulfate species. So this nitrate can react with so these organic compounds having a nitrogen, carbon, and sulfur, and then this nitrogen, carbon, and sulfur is converted into nitrate, carbonate, and sulfate. So this nitrate, carbonate, sulfate can react with the calcium in the water. So this we can get calcium nitrate and calcium carbonate or calcium sulfate. So this organic compounds is converted into calcium nitrate, calcium carbonate, or calcium sulfate. So this organic pollutant is easily removed from this environment. So we can get very clean environment. Clean, that is we can get very clean air using this photocatalysis. So this is the overall environmental applications. Like this like air purification, there is like water purification. So air purification, deodorization, and removal of pollutants. Same like electrical applications and resistance like that. Here side mirror. So overall, this is the smart cities. So when we need to make smart cities, we should source a very clean environment. So when we need to make a clean environment, we need to plan using this photocatalysis in energy applications as well as environmental cleaning applications. You see here I mentioned clean interior, clean window, because we need to coat photocatalysis materials on the wall or glasses or this water substances to get a clean environment, because this photocatalysis will not affect the nature. It's not converted into toxic materials, so it's not affect the environment. Therefore this is used as a used for the clean the environmental, and is used to convert energy, solar energy. It can converted into some renewable energy materials. So this is the plan for the smart city. Most of the countries like Japan, USA, they used many photocatalytic materials for clean the environmental, and also they used some energy applications. Okay, so photocatalysis and the nanotechnology will be more advanced time by time. So we need to improve photocatalytic efficiency, and we need to improve the less toxicity of photocatalysis like that. So here I like to mention some of my research about photocatalysis. Here I already mentioned that titanium dioxide is only used UV light photocatalysis. Therefore, we need to convert this titanium dioxide as a visible light photocatalysis. Therefore, I used to synthesis some metal, non-metal doped and noble metal doped titanium dioxide. These all materials are having a visible light active photocatalysis, and then these materials characterized many instrumentations like UV visible, SM, TEM, HRTEM, XAFS, mass Bayes spectroscopy, and magnetic properties is it's predicted by VSM like that. So I used this all materials as a very good photocatalytic materials. Here I like to mention some of the titanium dioxide materials with some vacancy, that is oxygen vacancy or titanium vacancy. This oxygen and titanium vacancies can produce can change the magnetic properties, because titanium dioxide is a diamagnetic property. When we dope tin or nitrogen, it's converted into ferromagnetic materials. So ferromagnetic materials is another one of the important field. If I get chance, I can explain in next webinar. These are some. Here I mentioned some of my publications and some of my related research. Here I also mentioned some of my publications about ferromagnetism as well as photocatalytic studies. This is the mechanisms of titanium tin doped titanium dioxide. Here I mentioned that one intermediate energy levels, because this energy level, when it's doped tin, this energy level is get reduced. So this energy level get reduced means it's absorbed lower energy levels. So it's lower energy levels means higher wavelength. Higher wavelength means it's absorbed visible light. Therefore, I called this is a visible light absorbed photocatalysis. So here I mentioned some photocatalytic characterizations of these materials. This is another one material. This is the plasmonic photocatalytic material, because I used silver. Silver is one of the noble metal. This silver chloride first converted into silver ion. So this is the, and this silver zero is act as a plasmonic effect. So this plasmonic effect as well as semiconductor effects to converted into, this is a very effective photocatalytic materials. I come to conclusion about my researches and this webinar. Titanium dioxide and some other photocatalytic materials is very good effective for the environmental as well as as well as energy applications. So therefore, we need to do some more research to use how to use commercial applications in the environmental field as well as energy field. That is very important. So here I also some of funding I used to do my research work. Here I mentioned some of the career opportunities, chemical science field from industry to chemistry graduated students like many field. So I like to show some of my related job opportunities. I already mentioned, and my Purnisa also mentioned that I.
Sir, you are not audible, sir. Sir. Sir, your mic is muted, sir. Ganesh, sir. Ganesh sir.
இல்ல அவர் வெளியே போயிட்டாருமா, கொஞ்சம் இருங்க, லெஃப்ட்ல வருது பாருங்க, மறுபடியும் ஜாயின் பண்றது நெட்வொர்க் ப்ராப்ளம் நினைக்கிறேன்.
Okay, okay, okay.
இப்போ பாருங்க. என்னாச்சு, மறுபடியும் நெட்வொர்க் ப்ராப்ளம் மாதிரி இருக்கு.
Ganesh sir. Sir இல்லையா? Sir உள்ளதா இருக்காரு. Sir, can you hear me, sir? Ganesh sir.
Yes, madam. When I leave.
Yes, yes. Yeah, before 2 seconds, sir. 2 minutes.
Oh, okay, okay. So you can see my job opportunities, Chinese Academic of Sciences, like that,
For
right?
Ganesh sir,
Yeah, which slide I left?
So the conclusion, you came to the conclusion slide, sir.
Oh, conclusion. So,
And after the words, you have started with the job opportunities.
okay, okay,
Yes,
okay.
sir.
Please wait. So, can you see my slides?
Yes, sir. Yes, it's visible.
So this is the career opportunity in chemical science field. So I already talked myself last 5 minutes. So just I repeat this all things. This is so in chemistry field we can get many opportunities from industry, government, academia, and so on. So I mentioned some of the field in these slides. So I like to introduce some of the opportunities in China, particularly in Chinese Academy of Sciences. So in Chinese, because I worked as a young scientist in Chinese Academy of Science for 4 years. Therefore, I like to show some of the opportunities in China, particularly in Chinese Academy of Sciences. So in Chinese Academy of Sciences, they are providing different international fellowships from retired professors to master students. So here you see distinguished scientists, visiting scientists, postdocs, special experts, like that. First, I chose here some of the fellowships from distinguished scientists. Means if you after retired in your academic from professor to retired professors, so then you can go. If you have a good research record, you can go as a distinguished scientist. And then visiting scientist, if you worked as a permanent positions in some institutions as a professor or assistant professor or associate professor, so you can go as a visiting scientist in Chinese Academy of Sciences. And then after your PhD, you can also go as a postdoctoral researcher. So I got this fellowship, postdoctoral fellowship in Chinese Academy of Sciences during my postdoctoral period. This is very good fellowship. Now they increased this fellowship up to in Indian rupees 2.5 lakhs per month. So this is a very good fellowship. So you can use, you can apply if you have some good research publications. You can apply this postdoctoral fellow to go in Chinese Academy of Sciences. And then if you are having a good expert in some technical field, you can go as a special expert in Chinese Academy of Sciences.
Sir, again you are not audible, sir. Gunashekhar, sir. Sir, are you inside? Ganesh Raj, sir.
Ganesh Raja, sir.
I think again he is having some network issues. Participants, you kindly wait. Our guest is having some network issues. You don't move outside. He has joined with us. You kindly wait for a second.
Oh, sorry. Still, I have some internet problem, right?
Yes, sir.
So just now I left, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
So okay, maybe I finished my talk.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So thank you very much for you give good opportunity to make this good lecturer about photocatalysis. If you have any questions, you can ask me.
Yes, participants, if you have any questions, you can ask, sir. It's an open forum. Participants, you can ask questions. Students, you can ask questions if you have questions.
You can ask in chat box also. I can see.
Yes, you can ask your questions in chat box also. Sir will answer.
I think I gave very clear cut explanation, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
So
what
there
is
is a
composite? Okay, Anand Kumari, what is composite, sir? Composite. I already mentioned that composite means we need to mix two individual molecules. For example, copper oxide and titanium dioxide. This copper oxide is one of the material and titanium dioxide one of the materials. When we mixed these two materials, then we can get one composites material like copper oxide with titanium dioxide. So those materials we are called composites. So that composites having a less than 100 nanometer size, so those materials we are called nano composite materials. Okay. Any other questions?
participants. Any other questions from your side? Students? So shall we wind up the session, sir?
Yeah.
So there is
What
another.
will be the risk factors of these elements are? Okay, Purnisa. Okay. I already mentioned that all photocatalysis are non-toxic materials. It's not toxic. But we need to do some research. When you prepare your photocatalytic materials, you need to check this is toxic or non-toxic. So when this is a non-toxic, then only you can use it as a commercial photocatalyst. When you go for commercial means our usage material. So commercial, when you go to cover commercially used as a this photocatalyst materials, it should be non-toxic materials. So that is a risk. Risk means that is a need to check this is a toxic or non-toxic, because we quote this photocatalysis in on places. Then after that, 10 years and 100 years, these materials also is act as a toxic material, means that is also one of the pollutants. So we need to check this is a toxic or non-toxic. That is a very important to risk in these elements. Okay. Which are the research labs in India which students go to the research in the field of nanomaterials? So many researchers, so many institutions are there, like IIT, Madras, many IITs, all IITs, all NITs, and then some NCL Pune. So many institute conduct this photocatalytic research. Myself also I am doing photocatalytic research in my lab. So many labs are there. If you need more details, you can contact me. I can inform some more details. Alfin, okay. Water splitting application available research labs are, yeah, water in my lab or some other lab. I think you are asking in my lab. In my lab, I don't have water splitting applications. That is very very costly instrumentations, because that lamp and everything is something. We need more funding, so I don't have water splitting application instrumentations. But some of my collaborators, some of my friends are having this instrumentation, so I can collaborate with them and then do some research in water splitting applications. Okay. Any other?
Can I continue, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Shall we wind up, sir?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, sir.
Very good experience.
Thank you, sir, for such a wonderful session. It was simply excellent, sir. All your explanations were really easy to understand. We sincerely thank you for your valuable time and effort, sir. Thank you, sir, for clearing all the doubts of our participants. I'm sure that today our dear participants have either gained completely new knowledge or have certainly improved their knowledge. Thank you, sir. Every ceremony has an end. Now we are moving towards the end of our. May we invite Mrs. Janisha Ma'am, Assistant Professor of Chemistry, SNH and IET, to propose vote of thanks. Ma'am, please.
Yes, thank you, Atin. Thankfulness is the beginning of gratitude. Gratitude is the completion of thankfulness. Good evening, all. I'm so happy and delighted to propose the vote of thanks. First and foremost, let me start by thanking our management, Dr. P. Krishnakumar sir, CEO and Secretary, for providing such an opportunity to conduct the webinar. I thank him in his absentia. Next, I would like to thank our principal sir, Dr. Maniarasan, for his continuous support and guidance towards us. I thank him in his absentia. On behalf of the entire fraternity of college, I extend my sincere thanks to the guest speaker of the day, Dr. A.S. Ganesh sir. Sir, you have shared a lot of informations about nanotechnology and photocatalytic applications, sir. Since our students are studying environmental science and engineering, it might be very useful for our students, and it was very informative for our students to learn new things from your lecture, sir. I was very happy, and it was a very informative session also, sir. I am very thankful to you, sir, for sharing all your ideas and all your research work towards us. And also you have guided us with a lot of job opportunities to our students, sir. It was very useful, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Next, I wholeheartedly thank our department head, Dr. Shalini Pakim Kamala, ma'am, for his continuous support towards the function. Since she is busy today, she couldn't join with us, sir. So I thank him in his absentia. And special thanks to Dr. Gunesh Shegran, sir, Associate Professor, and Dr. Ramesh, sir, Dr. Deepa, ma'am, Tarni, ma'am, who helped me in all ways to conduct the program in a very good manner. And I extend my heartful thanks to Atin from CSE department and from first year CSE department, and Purnisha from first year aeronautical department for their involvement towards working for our department function. Thank you, guys. And last but not the least, I thank all the faculty members of our Nehru Institute of Engineering and Technology College and our department faculties for their participation. And my great thankful to the participants, outside participants, as well as my dear students. So without you guys, the function wouldn't have that much of success. And I thank you one and all. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, dear ma'am, for your heartfelt gratitude. Thank you all for joining us this evening and making this event a great success. See you all for another program. Until then, bye.
Thank you. The
Okay,
feedback has been
thank you, Aarti.
posted. The feedback has been posted. You can fill the feedback form. So thank you, sir. Thank you so much for joining with us, sir.
Thank you
Sir,
so
நீங்க
much.
கொடுத்த